Hey guys, welcome back to j&M Sports Talk, and we've got some exciting games to preview for
Yep.
you guys.
We got some possible division winning games possibly too. Definitely front runners.
A lot at
Yep.
stake this week. A lot
Yep.
at stake. So, Jonathan, let's get right to it and our quick
All right.
picks. So, first of all, Iowa and Purdue, a Big Ten matchup.
This should be a really good game. I'm looking forward to watching it. But I'm gonna go with Iowa here. As I think that defense played really well. Both teams came off some tough losses, but I like Iowa in this one.
Yeah, I think Iowa will rebound from last week against that
hmm
game against Penn State. I like Iowa too. All right, let's talk about BC and Virginia Tech. Who you got in that one?
I'm gonna go with Boston College this one. I really like their run game, and Virginia Tech is just struggling right now. So I'm gonna go with BC.
Yeah, this one was probably one of the harder games to pick for me. Virginia Tech
Yep.
at home. I mean, they were at home last week. Got beat pretty heavily by
Yeah.
Georgia Tech, but I'm going to go with Virginia Tech rebounding this week
hmm
and winning at home against a much improved Boston College team.
Right.
All right, Utah and Arizona State. Who you got in this one?
I'm gonna go with Utah here. Yeah, I really like the trajectory Arizona State's making. They're improving each week, but I just like Utah better in this game.
Yeah, Utah's been hot the last few weeks.
hmm
They're definitely playing pretty well. Arizona State, they got a good victory against USC on the
hmm
road last
They
week.
did.
I'm gonna go with the Utah Utes though in this one.
Mhm.
Let's talk about Houston and SMU.
I learned my lesson last week. They didn't have Ed Oliver. They didn't need him last week. I'm gonna go with Houston.
Yeah, great victory for them last week. They'll
hmm
get the victory again this week. Going Houston in this one. All right, let's talk about the end schools.
Yep.
Notre Dame and Northwestern. Who you got?
I'm gonna go with Notre Dame. Until they lose again, I'm gonna keep riding them. They're playing such good ball on both sides of the ball. It's hard to pick against them.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't lost this season. They
hmm
don't have any projected losses. Everybody
Yep.
on their schedule, definitely a winnable game. I think that continues this week. Notre Dame will get
right.
the victory. All right, let's talk about Stanford and Washington. This game, really, we thought would determine the Pac-12 division.
Yeah, I think now it's going to determine who's the more disappointment and who's not of the Pac-12 this year. With that being said, I'm going to go with Washington because I guess both teams struggling, but I think I'm going to go with Washington.
Yeah, for Washington, wow. I mean, they've fallen pretty far. They actually
Right?
benched Jake Browning at one point last week. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Washington, though, being at home. Bryce
hmm
Love's been a disappointment this year.
Yes.
I'm going to go Washington reluctantly in this one.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Texas A&M and Auburn, Jonathan.
Well, my heart says War Eagle. So, but putting that aside, interesting stat. Since A&M came into the SEC, the road team has won every game in this matchup. With that being said, even though Auburn's a slight favorite again this week, the surprising or joking pre-show that every game Auburn's played in so far this year, they've been favored. So I mean, you take that what it is, they're 5-3. So that what does that really say? But I'm gonna go with Texas A&M in this one. I think they've got a few more things figured out right now more than Auburn. Auburn is coming off a bye, which should help things, but I'm gonna go with A&M.
Yeah, I'm going A&M in this one as well.
Mm,
That you can't mess with the trends.
no,
The stat on the road team winning this game, that's legit. And I'm going to go
yeah.
with Kellen Mond and
But
A&M.
I think we'll both happily be wrong on this one.
I would,
yeah.
absolutely. Maybe a little bit of reverse psychology
Yeah.
there. All right, let's talk about another SEC matchup, Missouri and Florida. How you see that one going?
You know what? This one, I think both teams really are coming off a tough loss mentally. With it being at home, I think Florida's gonna be able to rebound a little better, and I also like them a little better defensively. So I'm gonna go with the Gators.
Yeah, Florida's at home. I think
hmm
they'll rebound from that tough loss against Georgia last week.
hmm
I think the Gators will get it done. All right, let's talk about Oklahoma and Texas Tech. This one should be a shootout.
Yep. I mean, there's one thing. You should another great Big 12 game. All offense, no defense. I'm gonna go with Oklahoma in this one. I think Kyler Murray's just such a great player. I think Texas Tech struggled last week a little too much, so I'm gonna go with Oklahoma.
Yeah, Texas Tech has surprised in some games this
hmm
year. Um,
It is at home for them.
interesting that it'll be at home for them, but
hmm
yeah, I think Oklahoma will be able to to get one more score than them at
Right.
least. So I'm going Oklahoma in this one. Really, the only hope that the Big 12 has, other than
West Virginia.
which leads us into
Yep.
our picks,
Yep.
right?
Right.
West Virginia and Texas. This one is in Austin. How do you see this game
It's a
going?
top 15 matchup, so that should be interesting. I would suggest the winner of this game has a good chance to jump in the top 10 with some top 10s having tough games this week. I'm doing West Virginia here. You know, Ellinger's not 100%. Texas is struggling a little bit. They're still a good team, but they struggle. The games they lose are the ones that they get behind early, and they have to try to come back. And
Yeah.
Will Greer in this West Virginia offense is not a team you can fall behind because if they get a big lead, they're going to add to it. So I like West Virginia in this one.
Yeah, very similar matchup in this game
Mhm.
that Texas had against Oklahoma State
Right.
last week. So I see this going similar to how it went last week. I like West Virginia in this game. I agree with you on Will Greer. I mean, they've been very much under the radar this year. The only
Mhm.
slip up they've had was a road loss to Iowa State, which
Which-
Iowa State has kind of been up and down this year. You never
Yeah.
know what you're going to get there, but I like West Virginia in this game.
Mhm. Yep.
All right, let's talk about Georgia and Kentucky. The winner of this game takes the SEC East and goes to the
Yeah,
SEC
who would have
championship game.
thought that? I mean, they would have thought, okay, this would be the game Georgia needed to win to clinch it, possibly. But who thought the winner, either one, would clinch it? You know, it's just crazy. But I'm going to say what I said a few weeks ago. You don't walk into Kentucky and get a win this year. This is a different Kentucky team. I like the team they play. I really like Snell. You know, we talked about the Florida game. Florida had their opportunities if they would have kept running the ball, and they didn't. We know this Kentucky team is going to run the ball and be physical. They showed it against Mississippi State a few weeks ago. They're going to show it again against Georgia. I got the Wildcats at home in Kentucky taking over the SEC East.
Okay, that's one opinion. No, I really think this will be a good game, but for me, I've got to go with who has been there before, who has been there recently, who has a better shot. I'm going with the Georgia Bulldogs in this one. You know, Kentucky, no doubt, they've had a good season, but really, who have their wins been against? And really analyzing that, they beat Florida earlier in the year before they had figured anything out defensively or offensively. And then they beat Mississippi State at home, which Mississippi State is a completely different team on the road. So they did win those games convincingly, but I just can't go with Kentucky in this one. I think the Georgia Bulldogs are going to go in there, they're going to get the running game established, and they'll be able to hold Kentucky to under at least 17 points, I think. I just don't see Kentucky scoring enough to win this one.
My reason for it, though, is why you mentioned both these games. The reason why they won those games convincingly is because they were the more physical team. And that's something I don't see from this Georgia team yet. This Georgia team has to prove to me they can be physical for them to do what they did last year. Until they can prove to me they can be a physical team, I'm going to take the team that I've seen be physical in Kentucky. And that's why I think they're going to run the ball down Georgia's throat and they're going to beat them down and be the more physical team and win this one. And I'm going to say they win by at least 10.
I don't know. I don't know what you're drinking over there. I mean, it just can't be so. And here's another thing: Kentucky does not have the level of depth and talent that LSU has, that Georgia has. All those Florida. I mean, you can go on and on and on. Those top tier teams. Kentucky cannot go 4 quarters with it. We'll see what happens.
Find out. It's in Lexington. They're getting excited.
I might be wrong. I'm not wrong on this game. Georgia Bulldogs, they will win this game.
All right.
And I will gladly be happy if Kentucky wins because I root for the underdog, and I would love to see Kentucky go to the SEC championship.
I could be wrong, but I don't think they've ever won the SEC East. So that would be something big for them. You know, you talking about having been there. Well, that would be a great opportunity for them to end that.
For sure. If it's gonna be, it's gonna be this year, right?
Right. Yeah. The way they're playing.
All right, let's move on. Penn State, Michigan. Preseason, this game was a huge matchup, but Penn State, they've lost a couple of games, been struggling lately. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, this was the one that I really struggled with making that pick. Yeah, I want to say Michigan's got this in the bag, but Penn State's still got everyone there. It's not like they've had injuries. They've just had a couple bad weeks. If the Penn State that showed up and played against Ohio State
First
plays
half.
for this game,
Yeah.
yeah, for even 3 quarters of that game, and even late when it was going back and forth, that Penn State team could beat this Michigan team. Both games, well, it's going to be one heck of a game, I think, but they would have a chance. But I just don't, until they show up again, I'm going to go with Michigan, especially being at home. Michigan's just playing great ball on both sides. Their offense is figuring things out, and their defense is one of the top defenses in the country right now, the way they're playing. It's going to be really hard for them to do, but Penn State does have that potential, I think. But I'm going to go with Michigan.
Yeah, I'm going Michigan in this one too. Penn State has not been good on the road.
Mm-hmm.
They've been trending downwards. They did get a good victory against Iowa, but they were lucky to get that victory. So I'm going Michigan. Power running game, defense, rested up in this one. I think Michigan will get it done.
Yeah.
All right, the game of the week, the game of the season, the game of the century.
For now.
For now, for 1 week.
Yeah.
Alabama and LSU. Make your bold prediction in this game, Jonathan.
Oh, we already know what you're picking. But, yeah, with me, as much as I would love to say LSU's going to win this game, I would love to see it, and I will enjoy it. But without White in the first half, I think that's just too tall of a task for this defense to try to beat Bama. This Bama team has been dominant in the first half. I feel like the way to beat this team is to get them in the second half, to keep it close early on. And with White being out on their defense, he's just so important to everything they do. He's the one that makes the play calls. He's the one that does everything. I know Orgeron says, "Oh, yes, 3 or 4 guys that can replace White." You can't replace that much experience. There's a reason he's one of the top SEC defenders in the league. It's just too much to ask anybody to step in his shoes, even for a half. So with that being said, I'm gonna take Bama, and I don't think it's gonna be that close, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's an interesting pick. Very interesting pick. I've been very outspoken about picking LSU, and I just really don't think Alabama's been tested this season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the facts are the facts. The only decent team that they've played is Texas A&M, and Texas A&M was not who they were early in the game in the season.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be very interesting to see how Alabama reacts when they've been hit in the mouth, and that it's still a close game going into the second half. So I think that will definitely happen in this game. LSU being at home, a night game, Tiger Stadium. I think that's going to play a factor in the game. I think White being out in the first half will make a difference, but how motivated is he going to be in the second half when he gets in there? And he should be well rested. He should be ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting. Tua's been beat up a lot the last few games, and I just think if they can take Tua out, either mentally or physically out of this game, I mean, who do you trust on Alabama's offense to get the job done?
Jalen Hurts, who's been there forever.
I mean,
it was a reverse situation with Clemson. They actually kept the guy. So
gonna get in there and throw an INT for pick 6. I mean,
he's gonna run the ball.
He's just not the level of passer, and LSU has proven that they can stop the running game. I like LSU's corners in this one. I just see this one going LSU's way. Not to say that Alabama won't still win the SEC West. Not to say that Alabama won't go to the college football playoff.
It might. Yeah, I saw an article this week. Someone saying, maybe Bama should just throw this game so they can avoid the SEC championship and do what they did last year. I mean, yeah, this team, it's going to be really hard to see them lose multiple games. I mean, you could always throw the Iron Bowl in there just because it's a rivalry, too. But Auburn's not been playing the way everyone expected them to, especially me. But, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how the rest of this year goes after this one. But this one's going to be a big deal. I think more to LSU than Alabama for sure.
Yeah, really looking forward to this game and the other games. We appreciate you guys watching. Hope you have a great week of college football watching, and we will see you next week.
Later, guys.